about to find out as Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series qualifying is now underway from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Qualifying very important at this racetrack. The last two race winners have come from the front row. And so to win the pole, to be up front, very important. The difference is March was the last time that they raced here in Las Vegas. The temperature was 66 degrees. Right now, it's 100 degrees. So a big difference in temperature. And Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton are going to talk about how that temperature is going to affect these cars on this slick racetrack.
I was a little surprised. I talked to several drivers after that first practice, and they told me track had a little more grip than they thought it was going to have. And Junior, that shocked me. To be as hot as it is, I thought it would be exceptionally slick.
Yeah, it's surprising to hear those guys say that. Friday, track's green. It does have more grip on that particular day every weekend. As we go throughout the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, you lose a little more grip, get a little more rubber on the track, gets a little slicker in some spots. William Byron, see him run that middle groove in 3 and 4, coming to the green, down to the bottom on the money lap.
Went through the middle in 1 and 2, though, on the money lap. He ran the middle in 1 and 2, the bottom of 3 and 4.
Yeah.
That's something we would not see if it was cooler here, I think. I think they'd be locked on the bottom.
Good point, yeah. I think with the bumps, the reason why they may run the middle of 1 and 2 is just because it's so rough on the bottom getting into turn 1. And if you get through there good, that's great. It's a shorter distance, of course. But if you go through those bumps and the car's not timed well over those bumps, or you make a mistake, you get up off the bottom, it's going to cost you a ton of time. So going to the middle is a safe bet.
You used the word surprised earlier. Is anybody surprised that William Byron was driving legend cars 5 years before he won an Xfinity Series championship? I mean, 2012, he was driving legend cars. And now he's in the Cup Series.
Yeah, it's a quick pathway. And, some of that inexperience I think is shown this year. But I think that's to be expected. He's a really good race car driver, and he's going to be in good shape. I was surprised he went out that early. I thought everybody would sit and wait. He actually ran about 1.5 tenths quicker than what he ran in practice, and I think that's another thing, Junior, with this speed, with this heat. I don't think the teams know how much the track's going to pick up. So it's hard to know how to set the car up. It's even hard to know how hard to drive the car without understanding the amount of grip the track has in it, Dave.
And Jeff, some drivers are waiting, getting a report from spotters. Spotty shadows in turns 1 and 2, so not a whole lot of shade yet. Brad Keselowski just climbed into his 2 car, getting ready to go out, but taking his time. And I talked with Kurt Busch right beforehand, and I said, Kurt, you guys going to wait around, or are you guys going to take off right away? And he goes, well, we were going to wait until 10 o'clock tonight, but they're making us go within the hour. So not a lot of shade to be bought yet, but a few of them just kind of dragging their feet, seeing what they can get for a little bit as the session goes.
They're going to get a little bit of shade with the billboards in turns 1 and 2. They extend down over the racetrack, and that's going to continue to get better as obviously this qualifying session continues.
What's on this car? Dow Frost?
Yeah, there's the shade you're talking about.
I like this. Dow Frost.
Dow Frost.
I need some frost today.
Let's see where he runs down here in turn 1 and 2.
His brother was way up the racetrack. He was 3/4 away up the racetrack. I don't think he intended to be that high. Austin,
middle,
solid groove off the bottom, groove and a half.
And the bumps aren't as bad right up off the bottom, and the speed's just as good. And with that shade, even more grip, even more confidence that there's grip. That's the thing. You give the driver confidence that their grip is going to be there, he'll believe it and send it in there.
So William Byron, the first car on the racetrack, and he's still the fastest until Austin just finished that lap. And Austin now goes to the top of the chart.
Tammy Hill in his Darrell Waltrip throwback from Darlington. Marty, what you got?
Hey guys, everybody on pit road talking about what you guys are talking about as you watch Ryan Newman come take the green here at Las Vegas. They're all talking about line selection, and literally every driver is asking their spotter, where'd that guy run? Where did that guy run? And what they want to know, Junior, is where they ran in 1 and 2. You guys talking about that being the key. I asked Kyle Larson a moment ago. He said, I'm still debating on where I'm going to run, but he said I might run a little bit higher than everybody else. But he said I expect Kevin Harvick to run the highest of everybody here in round 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kevin even run the middle of 3 and 4. Right, that's, the bottom's been kind of the more popular line through there, but Kevin can make that middle work in 3 and 4. I've seen him do that in the past.
And the bumps are that bad that you're trying to avoid them?
Well, it's not. The bumps are really bad getting into one, and there's just like a 50-50 chance that you're going to get through there without any problems if you go through the bumps. Do you want to take that chance? Why take it if you can go around them in the middle groove, which is just as quick? It just takes that confidence. There he goes. He's in the middle of the track in 3 and 4, just like I thought he'd do for the green flag lap here.
And this is a great lap for Harvick.
He doesn't use the apron on the front straightaway. Why do you think he doesn't use the apron? A lot of guys cut down across that apron, coming to the checker to get a little more.
And maybe he will in round 3 if he advances. Maybe he doesn't want to damage the sprinter or something. So maybe he's saving that.
Didn't need to. Obviously, with a great lap like that.
Truex with not such a good lap. I would have thought he would run a little bit better than that. That's 0.4 of a second off of what Harvick ran.
You're seeing on the left side of the screen, Harvick, Austin Dillon, Martin Truex Jr. with the 16 there in the round of 16. Part of the playoffs. Every driver that's in the playoffs will have that 16 next to their name.
And Joey Logano, in the first practice, he was the fastest car here. I thought that was a big deal for those guys to come out and be on a 1.5 miles and be P1 in practice. I thought that was a big statement for these guys going into the playoffs. Here he is with a good lap. Not going to be Harvick, but closely.
And he did dive to the apron and is second quickest for Joey Logano. Still 8 minutes to go in round 1 of qualifying from Las Vegas. And now 26 cars have been on the track and taken time. Make that 27 now. Timmy Hill, the slowest of the 27. Harvick still the fastest. Logano, Bowman, Boyer, Almirola, Blaney, Keselowski, Austin Dillon, William Byron, Kurt Busch all in the top 10 now. Jimmie Johnson jumps up into 7th. A little bit surprising there and seeing that first practice when Jimmie Johnson was the slowest.
Surprised by Alex Bowman and Jimmie Johnson, two guys that weren't very fast in practice, didn't have great speed.
Jimmie Johnson worked on race trim, and then when he made his first Q run, it was on those same race tires. Then he went out and made a Q run, and it looked like to me he missed 1 and 2 in his mock Q run. So they certainly made the car better, and that's a good start for those guys.
Hey, Dale Jr., have a question. Yep. Hear a lot of guys talking about, remind me to use my track bar adjuster in the middle of the lap, maybe even once or twice. What's that all about?
Well, you drop the track bar so that when you pull off pit road to go and you're coming around the track to run through 3 and 4, coming to the green, you'll drop that track bar, as far as you're comfortable to drop it, to get some grip in the car to be able to run wide open through that corner, as much throttle as you can run through that corner, so you can come to the green with as much speed as possible and enter turn 1 with as much speed as possible. And as you run the lap, you start to raise that track bar back up to free the car up, because the car's getting tighter and tighter as you run that lap. Even just through one corner, the balance of the car will shift pretty quickly. So the guys will stay after. Oh, whoa. Big moment for Kyle Busch there.
Let's go. He's going to be just above the cut line at 24th.
And Kyle Busch is one of those drivers. He always says, well, I'll try to get 80%, 85% in that first round so that I don't waste too much of my tires.
So you heard him say he started walking out with the back. Well, there it is. That bump is the back of the car came around, just could not hold the racetrack, and that has him in 23rd. So right now, Kyle Busch 23rd, Chase Elliott 22nd, Martin Truex Jr. 21st. Don't see any big hitters left to go that haven't run yet. Darrell Wallace Jr., he hasn't run. He could bump somebody. It's going to be hard unless somebody made a mistake to go out the second time and pick up speed, I think, just because with this heat and the tire wear, I think it'll be hard to pick up speed. Darrell Wallace getting all he can.
He got the wall.
Sure did.
43 flat the right side of that car.
We watched Kyle Busch in practice. McDowell gets up to 23rd there, bumping Kyle Busch back to 24th. We watched Kyle in practice, and he had a decent lap in practice, but he used tons of racetrack to get it. Not surprised by the balance of his car. So that's what it looked like in practice. It looked like it back end was out of the racetrack a little bit on both ends, and now he's on the cut line.
And there's only a little over 3 minutes to go in this first round. So if they want to cool that car off as much as they can and get him back out there for a lap, they're going to have to do it very quickly. Marty.
You guys saw him actually pass Matt DiBenedetto coming to pit road. Adam Stevens told him, hustle back here as quickly as you can for Kyle Busch. So they're going to plug the car in and be ready for him to go back out. So he was trying to get back to his pit stall as quickly as he could. You see 2:47 left in this first round, Rick.
Yeah, the clock's ticking, and after that little bobble by Kyle Busch, I'm sure they are definitely a little bit worried about being able to cool that thing off enough to go out if they have to. But being right on the cut line with under 2.5 minutes to go in this session.
If I'm a crew chief for any of these guys that are going out here to run, I'm going to tell them about the line that Kevin Harvick ran. You're in the middle on both ends of the racetrack. What do they have to lose? Go out there and run the middle as hard as you can. Try it at both ends.
And David Ragan, he drove into turn 1 on the bottom, and then the car washed up. And some of that is, I think it's going to be harder to pick up speed. And talking to some of those drivers that said that the track had more grip, they also were surprised how fast the tires fell off on speed. So I think Ragan's problem is partly just tires and not having that grip he needs.
Yeah.
Everybody that's gone out a second time or still trying to get back in there way off of what the 24th number is, and that's what we're comparing to at the bottom of the screen. So Kyle Busch potentially could be safe.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine.
Right there at 24th, that's calling it very close. Ty was 3.5 tenths of a second off. AJ Allmendinger coming to get the green.
Just barely beat out super sub Regan Smith, the 95 car. Regan doing another sub performance here.
That's pretty good work. Hadn't been in a car for 15 months, I think, until last week. Come here and be 25th.
You call him a super sub. He's been filling in for everybody. Casey Kane this week, he filled in for you. Tony Stewart, numerous drivers he has filled in for and done a great job.
We're riding along with Allmendinger right there. You could hear how he just couldn't stay committed to the throttle on the corner exit of turn 4.
45 seconds to go, and now we're seeing the 9 of Chase Elliott roll to the end of pit road, maybe going back out again. Chase Elliott 22nd. Not really in jeopardy. Not sure why he would go back out on the racetrack. The 43, or excuse me, the 18 still sitting on pit road with 25 seconds to go. It doesn't look like they're going to go back out. Marty.
The 9's just going to roll around, Rick. There you go. There you hear Alan Gustafson saying just roll around. Adam Stevens made the call. We're going to sit tight. They were watching the 37. Tony Hirschman, in a very hurried voice on top of the roof, was saying, we got to go in 10 seconds if we're going to go. We got 5 seconds. And at the last second, Adam Stevens said, sit tight. We're going to be good.
I think Chase Elliott, he had rolled to the end of pit road.
That was close by Regan Smith, by the way.
Just making sure if he had to go, he was in position. They knew he wasn't going to have to go, but they're not going to let him back down pit road, so we had to just go around the racetrack to get back to pit road, Marty.
And guys saw Bubba Wallace. Rick, you wondered if he hit the wall, and yes, indeed, he did make contact with that right side. They're going to have to get that fixed before tomorrow, and here's the contact with Bubba Wallace coming off of 4, and we saw a lot of trucks in the truck series get loose right there as well. That's what happened to Bubba, too.
A lot of damage to the right side of that car. They'll have to go to work to get that cleared off of that right rear tire. Round 2 coming up. As we look at 25 through 40, these positions locked in now after round 1. And I want to take a look at the top 2. Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano on their qualifying laps.
Yeah, this is the lap tracker to show you. There's different lines here, so that's what we want to pay attention to. Both of them run the high side, or the middle side, I guess, in 1 and 2. See them do that differently, but with similar success. Harvick with a little bit of a lead down the back straightaway. 3 and 4 is a big deal here. 22 is going to go to the bottom. Look at the gain through the center because of the short distance, but look at Harvick gain that back. Now, Harvick doesn't choose to use the apron on the front straightaway, which gives up a little bit of time, but he's saving that front splitter or so forth for the next runs, and you can see he barely beats him there by 1,000th of a second.
12 1,000ths the difference between 1 and 2. Now everybody will be fighting to be inside the top 12. That's round 2 coming up next.
Lap tracker.
You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series qualifying. Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And let's go to the Peacock pit box. Steve Letarte up there. And Steve, I think you've got a guest.
Well, Rick, I wasn't sure with the 100-degree temperature if I was going to have a guest. Regan, I appreciate you coming by. We love watching you. First half of the year, doing a great job for Fox down here on pit road, giving the details. But now you're wearing the driver's suit, not the pit reporter uniform. Tell us about this opportunity first of driving this 95 car.
Well, obviously it came from a bad situation for Casey, unfortunately. So first and foremost, we want him to get better. We want him to take care of his health. But when Bob Levine called, I said, do I want to go? Absolutely. When I said absolutely, I didn't exactly look at the weather reports and realize it was going to rain all weekend in Indy and I'd get no practice. And it'd be 105 in Vegas. And we were saying on the break, I'm not exactly in driver shape right now. I'm in a little bit more TV shape than driver shape at the moment.
I take offense at that, by the way.
I've seen your basketball skills, Rick, so I feel like you're in TV shape too.
So we do want to talk about your lap, but right away we see one of the big playoff contenders, Kevin Harvick, out here making his lap, with Kyle Larson's also on the racetrack. We've talked about the heat. How has it changed? Let's see what Harvick runs. 28.74, a little slower than he did in the first session. But talk about the heat and the racetrack. You raced here back in 2016, but you have laps here. Has the temperature really affected the racetrack?
Well, I don't know that it did, and I think we all anticipated that it would when we first went out there. For me, it just made the race car tighter, and I drove the race car tight as well. I did the wrong things with my feet, but overall, I don't know that it's really as different as maybe we anticipated it was going to be when we first set out there. We see guys going early right here, and much like the last session, a couple guys went out and put up some decent numbers. Everybody was watching that and said, okay, let's get out there right away.
And you mentioned those guys going early. Well, 6 of the 7 that have run so far are top 16 playoff guys. Only Stenhouse Jr. hasn't run. Talk about your car trying to get acclimated. What's more difficult? Indy with no practice, the heat in Las Vegas? Which track is more difficult to kind of get back in the rhythm?
Well, for me, hands down, today has been the toughest thing that I've done. And in particular, this qualifying session, just because you have to come out and figure out how to optimize a race car that you haven't been in for me, 17 months. Yes, I raced it last week, but Indy's such a different racetrack than this. The other challenge is at Indy, we start the race off. We've got a competition caution at lap 10. We've got another one at 30, and then another caution at 50. So we have time to work on the race car and make the race car better, whereas today it had to be 100% right away.
Well, this guy right here, Kyle Busch, continues to struggle. He's the 11th quick out of all 11 guys. I thought you were going to be the guy. I thought you were going to bump Kyle Busch out in the first round. All the playoff drivers did make it in the second round. I'm not sure that's going to stand for Kyle Busch. Him and Austin Dillon, I think even Jimmy Johnson have to be concerned.
I would say definitely for Kyle, he's probably going to have to rerun. What I did learn just a minute ago, we reran our race car because we knew we were going to be right behind that cutoff, and it's hard to get any more speed out of it. It's just so hot today. And when we talk about the hot conditions, I think that's the biggest issue is with the temperatures, you can't make your car go faster the second time out.
Right. I mean, it's just so nothing cools, right? The engine doesn't want to cool. The tires don't want to cool.
Tires are hotter. The tires are slicker. The track's still the same temperature. There's no shade coming. A lot of times we come here. When we come here for the Fox portion of the schedule, we get the shade down in turn 1, and it helps things out. Guys keep getting quicker and quicker. I know. The pools are open in Vegas. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's right. We see Eric Almirola continuing to surprise a little. You look at the playoffs. He's beat a handful of playoff guys. Here's another one here. We'll watch Eric Jones' lap. As he goes down to turn 1, we'll talk about those bumps. He goes to the bottom, surprisingly, through the bumps. What do you prefer?
Well, I made the mistake today in practice of going right through the middle of the bumps. And something that's new to me that we didn't have the last time I was in a car was this SMT data, to where you can look at your throttle traces. You can look at what other drivers are doing with a ghost car on the racetrack, not Dartfish, but the actual computer ghost car. I was able to watch that and realize, hey, I'm not going high enough to get around the top of the bumps. I prefer going over the top of the bumps instead of going below them.
What's his hashtag? That Jones boy? Well, that Jones boy has gone to number 1. Eric Jones, that is an impressive lap.
Whoa, big save by Jamie McMurray right there. That's getting a little closer than you want.
Yes, absolutely, but still ends up in the top 8. We have a handful more to run. Clint Boyer, the last of the playoff guys, to try to make a lap here. We'll see currently a little behind. You mentioned that big save of Jamie McMurray. Let's take another look at it. Right here off turn 4. He's already a little high.
You know, he missed the bottom or missed the line that he wanted. The car kept getting tighter and tighter when he got up there, more and more steering wheel, and eventually that thing's going to get light. The car just comes out of the racetrack. So fortunate he didn't right side the car right there.
And then we see the 19 of Daniel Suarez. Been in the news, a lot of rumor mill. We're not sure what's going to happen with him and his opportunity. Joe Gibbs, most important thing I think at this point is to have a good 10 races and work that out. And now we have just 4 more to run. So in your mind, you were just out there, Johnson, Elliott, Dillon, do they have a chance to go out make adjustments and run faster, or you just think it's not in the cards in this weather?
I don't think it's in the cards with this weather, but I would love for one of them to prove me wrong, because it'll be entertaining as heck if they do. So go for it, guys. Get out there. You can make it happen.
But I'm always impressed. You know, the first round of the playoffs, 16 playoff drivers, they really dominate the leaderboard. But Jamie McMurray and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 2 in the top 12, Dave. So a couple non-playoff drivers look like they may advance to the last round.
If they do advance, sometimes it's because engineering comes up with a great idea, like keeping the laptops running during the round. William Lee, the engineer for Kurt Busch on the 41 car, has found a way to do that. That's right. He just stuck his laptop on top of a bag of ice. The former North Carolina State long snapper, he's resourceful.
That is resourceful. You know, we mentioned the 18. We have a little quiet time right here. No one on the racetrack. How about Martin Truex Jr.? I'm shocked. 21st quick. I'm not saying it was guaranteed to make it, but I just expected to at least contend for that top 12.
You know, I saw that name in 21st on the monitor, and I looked over to see if he had put a time up. I thought maybe he was out there actually making his lap. I heard a car in the background, and as it turns out, he had already made his lap. So very surprising to see really the 18 of Kyle Busch, the 14 of Clint Bowyer, and the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. this far down the running order at the first playoff race like this.
Hey, Steve,
Yes,
real
sir.
quick, the 78 was very, very tight. Not even a self-adjusting track bar in the cockpit could fix the 78. Just wouldn't turn.
Well, and when you're tight, you're just it's so much at the mercy of the front tires. There's not much you can do. But Regan, I want to talk about you. We've talked about these playoff guys. You subbed for me, unfortunately, in 2012, and Dale Jr. you did a great job. Charlotte, Kansas, I had a blast working with you. With the super sub, I got the list, right? Kane, Almirola, Lar. I mean, you've subbed for everyone. But what's it like to get this opportunity? You're sitting at home, you get the call to drive the 95. I haven't had that chance to go back onto the pit box, but I think I would appreciate it more than I've stepped away. Are you having fun?
I am having an absolute blast, and that was the coolest part for me. You know, I got done with the 43 car last year at Dover. We finished that race. We blew a tire. We actually ran pretty well in that race. And I didn't know if that was going to be the last time or not. And it wasn't until I did my TV deal a couple months later where I said, wait, I might not get back in a race car. This might be the last time that I drive a Cup car and go race against the best in the world out there. And it was a little bit troubling for me. This time back in the car, I was able to appreciate it. When Bob called and everything worked out to where I could do it, and all my bosses said it was okay, I told myself, you know what, I wish I would have appreciated racing full-time as much as I do now when I just get to do it every once in a while, because it is something special to get out here on this racetrack. I think we take it for granted. You get caught up in this garage area, and you get caught up in the rat race and everything that comes with it, and the grind that is the Cup Series, and you forget sometimes that, hey, we're out here doing something that is really fun also.
Well, I'm thankful because I'm trying to think what other sport do we have commentators that are able to compete. You'll be able to deliver on Fox what you learn here. We have Parker Klickerman that gets to drive. Dale Jr.'s in the Xfinity car next week. You know, people that are talking about the racing get to go out there and experience it again to make sure they remember every corner, every bump, every move.
You know what? And the great part is I can assure Junior up there in the booth, the rust gets knocked off quick. So he'll be fine when he gets out there. Dale, I expect you to go out there and win that race, dang it. The people want it to happen. All of us want it to happen.
I love to hear that.
It literally took me 2 laps. As soon as we fired the motor and we went down the backstretch at Indy, I felt like I was a driver again, and everything came back to me just that fast. Paul Menard doing a really nice job right here on these old tires.
It's going to be close. Guinea bump, Almirola out.
Oh. Man, I wanted him to make a fool of me right there.
Oh, we're trying. What are you hearing, Marty?
Our attention turns to the clock, Steve. 1:17 left in this round. You see Chase Elliott below the cut line right now. Alan Gustafson sending him on the track. Kyle Busch going on the track right now. I was going to ask you how long you wanted to wait. Not very long, because you had to leave your pit stall with 50 seconds left. Kyle Busch doing that and sitting at the end of pit road. He needs to leave there by 30 seconds left on the clock.
I think Chase Elliott is going to prove you wrong right here. I noticed when he went through turns 1 and 2, fully shaded. So that's going to help the racetrack. It's no longer the shades in and out of the billboards. Chase Elliott, folks, up to the 6th position, moves out the 10 car. Next up, Jimmy Johnson. Doesn't look like he currently has the pace. We'll see if that shade in 1 and 2 can help the 18 of Kyle Busch as he's just accelerating. Can he get to the line, first of all? I look with 33 seconds, I think he can. Let's ride on board here. We'll take a lap with the 18. This is that high exit of 1 and 2, or excuse me, 3 and 4, getting a little momentum, and now we're heading into the shaded 1 and 2, Regan.
Yeah, he's trying to get that momentum, and he needs that run. Even though it's only maybe 300 yards to turn 1, you want that extra speed going down there. There are a lot of cars in the green right now, so the track maybe is picking up some speed finally, and he runs the top of 1 and 2. He went above the bumps in 1 and 2. We've seen him go below him earlier today.
Yeah, look at the lap of the 78. We heard Dave say it was too tight. He couldn't adjust on it. They must have made great adjustments. 78, I think, is going to move up. lap for the 78. Goes to 7th. Kyle Busch. It's got to be close. He's coming back. It's the playoffs. You got to perform in the playoffs, and Kyle Busch has done it. This is impressive. Can Clint Bowyer do it?
Just barely misses. We are seeing why these guys are playoff teams right now with doing what they just did. Hot racetrack, hot tires to make it back out there and go fast enough to bump their way in.
So guys, we talk about the momentum. Well, already Keselowski, Bowyer, Almirola, Johnson, Dillon all missed the second round. It's going to be exciting. Third round's coming up. But Regan, thank you so much for joining us. It means so much to the fans. You come out of your car, come here, explain what's going on. It's great. I don't normally talk about the weather, but 100 degrees in a black fire suit, you get an A+.
Well, black fire suit, but as I said earlier, I'm in TV shape. A white fire suit would not be fair. Very flattering for me right now, so appreciate it. And you guys, you do a great job, and looking forward to getting back on pit road here in a few months also.
Yeah, that's good. Now, he is doing a great job. Just missed the second round, but like I mentioned, a few playoff drivers eliminated. We have 11 playoff drivers in the top 12. We'll go for the poll next at Las Vegas.
Sports app puts everything right at your fingertips, especially NASCAR on NBC. Get closer with alternate camera angles, driver stats, track information. Grab that anytime, anywhere. We look at positions 13 through 24. They are now locked in. You see here, 5 playoff drivers did not advance into the third round. Brad Keselowski missed it by 3 inches, 1/1000th of a second. Dave.
Yep, Rick, that's crazy over an entire lap or two. Brad, what was so challenging about that second round, that round there?
Just everybody's giving it all. Track's a little dynamic there, changing. And I probably didn't put in the right groove there, Dave. So it is what it is. We'll start 13th and work up from there.
Where were you off on the groove in your mind?
Oh, I blew turn 3 and 4 by a mile, so I was in the wrong groove.
All right, recovery time for Brad Keselowski, guys.
It's playoffs. You could see the disappointment. He said, hey, I messed up, didn't put the car where it needed to be, but the disappointment for round 1 of the playoffs is different than on a normal race.
By the way, I'll throw out a stat. He won from 13th at Darlington. that first crown jewel that he grabbed, and he'll start 13th on Sunday. Emojis for the drivers in the playoffs. You see their hashtag Bowman88.
So the hashtag DI9 is big.
Big. Right.
I didn't know that.
That Jones boy. Hashtag that Jones boy.
That Jones boy.
There's Jones. There's Denny delivers. And right now they're going to try to deliver on this third round. Again, the last 2 races, the winner has come from the front row, one of the top 2 starting positions. Who will it be today? Alex Bowman, one of the first to go out on the racetrack.
Been a solid day for Alex Bowman so far.
All right, so if you've made it this far and you know that the middle in 3 and 4 is probably the best groove to run, especially on cycled tires. You think everybody goes up there and runs that groove? I think Logano and a couple of them guys stayed committed to that bottom.
He went to the bottom and won.
That's a surprise for me.
After watching what Chase Elliott did in 3 and 4 on his second time out on the racetrack on that same set of tires, I'd have to copy that. That was impressive what he was able to do.
That's kind of what time this is.
So Bowman first across the stripe, 28.97.
97. I mean, it's going to be a 70. Don't you think, Jeff? It's going to be a 70 or better to get the pole.
Larson 29 flat. Kurt Busch goes to the top of the chart, 28.95.
Take a look at Larson come to the green flag here. Big wiggle right there. Killed a lot of his speed coming off turn 4. That hurt you all the way into the... And another big move right there off turn 2. Oh, man.
Right up against the wall.
That's a wild lap.
Yeah, I think he was glad it was over.
Yeah.
Ryan Blaney, see him in the green.
Harvick, he was way up the racetrack in 1 and 2.
He's coming back into the green. Again, comparing to Kurt Busch right now. Blaney's going to get it first. Will Harvick knock him off, though? Harvick stays in the green compared to Blaney. Oh, he heard you hasn't complained about it, but he still has the fastest lap, 28.81. You're saying a 70. You think it's going to be a 70?
P1 so far.
I'm with you. I think a high 70. I think that 81 is going to be close.
Right.
Would you be surprised if Kyle Busch won the pole after the struggles he's had in the qualifying session?
I would.
Good job.
But I think if you're Logano, if you're Eric Jones, you look at that 81 and you go, I can go out there and beat that.
The door's open. It wasn't quite good enough a lap where they have to do something extraordinary, I don't think. We just don't know about the tire fall off. That's just something with so little experience here with this kind of heat.
Shade has increased now, as you see it. Entering turn 1, the whole front straightaway is shaded. All of turn 1 and 2 is shaded.
It's rough. You see it, Denny's helmet just moving back and forth.
He's got a great lap going.
He's in the green.
See what he does in 3 and 4. Gave up some speed on corner entry, but now it's coming back from the middle of the corner off.
Whoa.
Look good. I had a 77.
Still looking good. Denny Hamlin.
Good
He's
lap.
fastest.
78.
Good job.
Big moment for Jamie McMurray.
Yeah, he ran a 29.48.
And we just watched his teammate.
Oh, man, that's hard hit.
Yeah.
That's a lot of contact.
Remember, he got away with that in the second round. He almost wrecked coming off turn 4. Didn't get away with it this time.
Chase Elliott up to 4th. His lap.
Only 4 still to go. Eric Jones, Logano.
Eric Jones on the track going into
Kyle
turn
Busch.
1.
Logano on the track.
Eric Jones on the bottom of the racetrack in 1 and 2.
Logano's coming to get the green.
Jones is in the green.
And he ran the bottom of 1 and 2. Real surprising there. Middle of 3 and 4.
Stays in the middle and staying green. Can Eric Jones win the pole in Vegas?
And he had a great 3 and 4.
Looks really good. Jones is fastest now.
That's a good lap.
Now Logano, let's see what he can do. It's good getting into 3. Can he carry that speed on corner exit? It's going to be hard with that speed on entry, but
He's losing.
Oh,
He's
it's
close.
That's so close.
wow.
Logano second.
3,000ths.
Kyle Busch fourth. What a rebound. Now Martin Truex Jr. in the red. 10th and a half. Now 2/10 off. Losing a little speed on corner exit. At 0.3 of a second off of Eric Jones's pole winning speed.
We didn't make it.
They're the 42, Larson, they're saying they did not make it. That's what you heard, that communication from his team. Now, whether that's not official, but his spotter said it's official. He
It's
didn't make it.
official now. We're hearing it from NASCAR.
Okay.
Hey, what did I tell you about Eric Jones in practice? Remember I told you, I said, watch this guy, man. If you look at what they've done the last 12 races, they've got the second best average finish, only behind Harvick. This team has been quietly successful.
People, listen to Jeff Burton. You making me a believer?
Hashtag that Jones boy wins the pole in Vegas. It's just his second career pole.
It's a huge pole, though, man.
It
this
is
is the
a
start of the
huge pole.
playoffs, his first playoffs, a shot to win the championship, and
His
you want to
odds.
come out, man. You want to come out and take control, right? You want to come out and say, we're here to win, and the only way to do that is this kind of statement, and it's just an awesome day for he and this team.
His odds to win the championship, 25-1. But what a start in round 1 to win the pole. Marty.
Eric Jones, high five from all the team. That Jones boy on the pole here at Las Vegas. So a little surprising there for you. And what kind of statement is that for this race team to be on the pole first playoff race?
Well, I knew we had a good car in practice. I didn't know if we were going to have the speed to get the pole, but you know, the track kind of came to us, and I figured I knew what we needed to do adjustment-wise, and so did Chris, and we were just able to get the dual Camry the way it needed to be and you know, put together a really good lap. So it's definitely can't start them off any better than that. So we got a long ways to go this weekend, but we definitely got the speed to do it. So we just got to keep it in it and have us a good race on Sunday.
Jeff Burton has been singing your praises for a couple of weeks now. So are you guys a sneaky pick to make it to the championship for?
I hope so, man. We've got the speed, you know, we've got the speed, we've got the consistency, we've just got to keep it rolling, and I feel like we've been kind of under the radar, but we've been running really well, and we've, you know, just got to put it together for one really good race, and I think we can do that any weekend, and we're continuing to bring good cars, so I think we're one to watch, hopefully, for sure.
All right, that's one box to check. How about 400 miles in 100 degrees here at Vegas? What's that going to be like Sunday?
That's going to be hard. It's it's a long race, and with the heat, it's going to make it even tougher. So I'm learning more and more how to run these hot races. They've never been my forte, but it definitely feels good to get a pole on a hot, slick track, and really somewhere that I'm, don't feel like I'm necessarily my best track. So it feels good, and it's nice to have fast race cars.
What a way to start the playoff for that Jones boy, Rick, on the pole here at Vegas.
Yeah. Ken Squire, back in Darlington over a year ago, calling him that Jones boy, and it's definitely stuck. Hashtag that Jones boy. And look at average finishes over the last 10 races. Can he be considered a sleeper? When you look at this and you say Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, right up there, part of the big three, and Eric Jones right in the middle.
I think you could. The only problem is the playoff points. He doesn't have enough playoff points, and that's the only thing that separates him from those other guys. He's obviously got the performance. But if he could get some playoff points during this round, 10, maybe 10 playoff points, that would really help those guys going into the next few rounds.
Youngest driver to win the pole in a Monster Energy Cup Series race at Las Vegas at 22 years old. That's right, Eric Jones, that Jones boy, has won the pole in Vegas.
Joey Logano still studying the chart there. Yes, it says 3 1,000ths of a second still. Can you imagine how short of a distance that is? I mean, that's close to lose the pole by.
And I keep hoping it changes at some point, but I guess it won't. Yeah, it was. We got a good car. We got a car that's it's got a lot of speed in it from when we unloaded. We were fast in practice and fast again here in qualifying. Just, I hate being that close, but just didn't quite finish the turn. Mainly in 1 and 2. I felt like I was a little bit off in 3 and 4 as well, but just got a little bit past the center and couldn't get the gas down in time. Waiting on the nose a little bit too long. So overall, proud of the Pennzoil 4 team, and hopefully, speed transfers over into race trim tomorrow and ultimately into Sunday, and be really cool to win here.
By the way, distance-wise, that's 9 inches. That's it. So I want to ask you, though, about the speed.
Thanks.
You guys, the speed you guys have found, because clearly it seems like almost a different program that's shown up here in Vegas for the 22 team.
Yeah, we'll see. We're trying some different things and kind of going back on some things as well, and just regrouping a little bit. So so far so good. A lot of unknowns as far as where tomorrow will go when we get in the race trim. We unloaded in qualifying trim and made 3 laps in practice. So we're 6 laps total into the weekend. So tomorrow will be a good test to see what we got and keep adjusting on our stuff.
It's a front row start on Sunday for Joey Logano, Dave.
Denny Hamlin's had a chance to check the data over there. I saw you looking at the laptop there. What'd you learn about your lap?
Well, I knew I couldn't quite commit to throttle off at turn 4 like I wanted to that last run, but overall just got a little better each qualifying session. So pretty happy with that run for our FedEx Camry. So we're got a good starting spot. We'll have a good pit stall and obviously a good start.
How was the track as compared to earlier today in practice?
It was just a little bit slicker, I thought, from the rubber. Overall, even though the track temp was down, I thought all the practice that had gone on all day had slickened up the racetrack quite a bit. So that's kind of what we fought through the rounds. It's just getting the grip in the car that we needed, but pretty happy with our progression there through the rounds.
I think one of the big questions we all want to know is weekend racing in 100-degree heat, 400 miles, Denny. What's that going to be like?
It'll be hot. We've had some hot ones before, though, so it's nothing we haven't been through. So just hydrate well, do everything you can to make sure you're prepared for it. Just running one race this weekend's pretty easy, considering the races I run double duty are some of the hottest races all year. So if I can do that, I'm sure I can get through 400 miles here.
Good starting spot for Denny on Sunday.
And you always want to start off the playoffs with the best equipment, the best positions. And Joe Gibbs Racing, their 3 playoff contenders are the top 3 out of the 4 positions right now starting this first race of the playoffs. But it's led by a 22-year-old, and Eric Jones. Are we surprised that it's Eric Jones that's faster than Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch?
I think it's a little bit of a surprise. Jeff's not surprised. He's been telling us how Eric Jones has been great for weeks, and I'm beginning to believe it. Just his inexperience, I guess, is what concerns me with him battling against guys like Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch through the playoffs. Those guys having so much more experience than him with the pressure that you have to deal with. But this racetrack, I thought something that Logano said right there was really interesting. He's not sure or confident that his race trim is going to be as good as his qualifying trim. This is a track when you untape the car and slow it down and go into race trim with the rough bumps and everything, the car changes tremendously. That speed doesn't always translate. I think we're going to see the same guys running great in the race. They may shuffle around a little bit in the race on Sunday. And this track being hot and slick, it's going to be wide. There's going to be a high groove. I think that gives Larson a chance to be a sneaky pick for Sunday to win.
I think you're right. I think everybody's in the same boat. The only guy I saw and the only team I saw that really worked on any race stuff at all, and it wasn't much, was Jimmy Johnson and his team. But I think everybody is concerned about what happens tomorrow when you take the tape off and you know it's hot as it's going to be, and you've got to go run 30 laps in a row. And that's going to be a completely different deal what it takes to be successful today in qualifying. But I like the fact that Eric Jones and his team were able to step up. But let's don't forget about Joey Logano. They won practice, and I know you don't get a trophy for that, but you won practice. Yep. And they were really good today, and I think they were second in round one, second in round two, and they were second in qualifying. So a solid day for those guys, and I think they needed a solid day. We know they know how to race. They just need to bring a little bit of speed, and I thought they did that today. What about you, Steve? What'd you see?
Well, I think it's actually the opposite, where I don't think anyone other than maybe Eric Jones gained any momentum, but more importantly, nobody lost any. No one made the catastrophic mistake. We have all 16 playoff drivers starting inside the top 18. And, Rick, it's one of those where not a lot was gained today, but a lot could have been lost. We saw some accidents. Jamie McMurray touched the wall a little bit. All the playoff drivers avoided that. So now we'll see practice tomorrow, see what they look like when they untape those noses, get into race trim.
2 practices for